Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Okay, here we go. So, before we go to what you guys got as answers, let's go back real quick to what it means to be even and odd, right? What it means to be even or odd. Even means I plug in a negative x. Where? Everywhere, right? Function notation. Plug it in everywhere. And if it simplifies to be the same, I can say even it has y-axis symmetry. Odd. In the olden days, aka like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, we said for odd, plug in a negative x, plug in a negative y, simplify. But another way of looking at it, for functions only, if you plug in a negative x, and if it makes everything opposite, then it will be odd. Okay, so let's go back to those examples. Number 72. Remember, my voice isn't good, so help me out. Group number, let's go group number 5. 72.
All right. So g of negative x equals negative x in parentheses cube minus 5 times negative x.
What happens?
The x cubed becomes negative, and it becomes plus 5x. And everything's opposite, so it's odd.
Negative instead of positive, positive instead of negative. So then we can say odd. If some of you were like, but I don't get it, it's supposed to be negative g of x. We could have also gone one step more, pulled out a negative, and it was opposite the original. But if you just see opposite, opposite, if all the pieces are opposite, if it's addition, that technically works, but be careful, it might get you in trouble on one of the next ones. But if you can pull out a negative, and if it's the same, it is entirely opposite odd. Okay. Entirely opposite odd. Any questions on 72? Questions on simplifying? Why did the negative stay after cubing? Yeah, it's an odd number, right? So 2 of them make a positive, but then you have another one that's going to multiply into it. Number 73, let's go group number 7. What do you got?
We got odd.
Odd? Okay, what'd you do?
What's this one? F of negative x.
Good.
Equals parentheses negative x.
Good.
Radical 1 minus negative x squared.
What happened?
The negative x stays the same. What was this? I think it's 1 plus x. No. Minus x.
Y minus.
The negative x cubed is 1, or like positive 1, and then since there's a minus sign.
Yeah. So this part becomes a positive, but the minus is still there. So the negative x times negative x is a positive x squared, but there's a minus that positive. Now, if it was a cube, that'd be minus a negative, which would be a plus. Because it's just a square, that one became positive. The minus was still there. Could I rewrite it like negative times? Yeah. It's like a negative 1 outside. This is multiplication. So if I have a positive times a negative, this is, you guys were right, this is odd. A few of you are like, no, but it distributes. No, it doesn't distribute unless there is a plus or minus. One negative made the whole thing opposite, so it's odd. Okay? A couple places you could have messed up on that one. But one negative made the whole thing opposite, so it's odd. Okay? Now, remember the last one. I think this one was kind of tricky. So do I have a volunteer for this one? Alright, I did the group. Ricky already did one. Another volunteer? So thank you. No? Alright, let's go group number 2. What'd you guys get? What'd you do?
You do f of negative x. Is equal to,
Ooh, it's H, but yeah.
oh, yeah. Same things. And then is equal to negative parentheses. To the square root of negative parentheses cx plus 1.
What happened?
Well, the x becomes negative, and that x
can I put my parenthesis and say, hey, it's opposite, they're same thing. He's different and he's the same. What happens if it's a little same, little opposite? Tricky. Could be neither. Could be neither. But do you guys see why? This one would have been great if only he'd stayed the same. But he didn't. So I have one opposite, one same. What's positive? Even means everything stays the same. After simple lines. After. Any other questions? Okay. Is even odd a little tricky? Yes. What does it correspond to? Help me out. Symmetries from section, I don't know, a long time ago. Even was with what symmetry? Y-axis. It folds like a parabola, like x squared. Odd goes with what kind of symmetry? Origin. What's the one symmetry that's not in even or odd?
X-axis.
Why isn't x-axis? Oh, it's not a function, so it can't be a function notation. Because if it had x-axis, it would fail the vertical line test. So if it's a function, do I ever have to worry about that? So the ones we were looking at before that did have x-axis, they weren't functions. All right, with that, let's turn to the front of your spiral and let's check that homework thing. Let's turn to the front of your spiral. Wait, you can't check homework unless you have a what? I'm just randomly hitting something. A weapon. Not weapon. You're not destroying your work. You're correcting your work. You say it's tool. Proper tool. You gotta go with pen or pencil. You guys know the drill. Not gray, not black. Not weird highlighter that doesn't do much. Alright, we don't need that open. I was just opening it to hide the other. Alright, number 4 should have been y-axis symmetry. Something to do with even, maybe? Oh, why am I in the wrong one? Oh, Sandro. Give me a second. Sorry, number 2, zeros. Number 6, odd. Number 20. To find the zeros now. Some of you are like, that was hard. It was a cubic. I know. What was the one reason I gave you a cubic on this one? Grouping works. It usually doesn't on a cubic, but grouping actually works. If you're able to figure it out, that's really cool. Yeah. Oh, no wonder. I was wondering why I gave you such a hard one. Remember, every now and then happens. What was the real 20? Say it one more time. F of x equals. Oh my goodness, it's worse. It's a 4th degree. Oh wait, it's better because what's in common? You can factor out the x squared. Otherwise, it would have been too hard. You could have kind of done it in a different way, but it would have taken you a little bit longer. Oh, you're done. That's it. No. Because how can you keep factoring? That's a difference of 2 perfect squares. So 3x plus 5, 3x minus 5. So what were your proper zeros? Technically, there's a repeated 0. But that's okay. Let's write it once. Yeah. Let's be slackers and just write it faster. Either way. Better? Thanks for catching. You wouldn't have liked the other one, so that's funny. Let me get rid of all that ink that's now covering up the page. Okay. Number 32. Is that the right function? You should be able to know because you're writing down the problem. Okay. Decreasing, negative infinity to 2, increasing 2 to infinity. And remember, I said always keep the increasing, decreasing ones open, which means parentheses. Okay? So some of you are starting to put brackets. No, you weren't listening. For me, always keep the increasing, decreasing, constant intervals open. Always, always, always. Points are just separators, just keep them open. Okay, so the function is decreasing negative infinity to 2, increasing 2 to infinity. If you put little x's with little e's, that's even better. Number 36, decreasing 2 different places, increasing 2 different places. They combined it with an and. If you want to be super mathematical, you can combine it with a union symbol or with a comma. I will take any. Okay? Just don't necessarily write them next to each other. That's a little awkward. Separate it somehow. Comma and. That's good. A couple more seconds. Number 52. Does that look good? How are you supposed to find the min and max? Looks like a graphing calculator problem to me. Right? Graphing calculator handbook to the rescue?
Yeah.
Okay. And remember, are these intervals or are these points? Yeah, in context. The minimum is 1 point. The maximum is 1 point. No big deal, right? But sometimes they can look like intervals. Intervals look like couple more seconds. 54. I don't know why it's selected. I think, is this the one that said approximate and it has like decimals?
Yes.
Lame. Just use your calculator. We'll say approximate because your calculator does round eventually. So we'll say the calculator answer was an approximate. But if you truly tried to approximate, you might have had like 2.5-ish, 3-ish. Totally fine. I don't care. It doesn't have to have the decimals if you truly took it at its word. The book. And if you truly just eyeballed it. Number 60, how do you find the absolute value in your grapher? Math, and then over 1, right? And abs. Just remember, it's in your graphing calculator handbook. If you need it, go look at it. Oh, do I still have them? Is that why you guys are like, wait? When is last day? Because we've been going nonstop. We need to review today. Look at all this stuff now. You guys will get back to grapher quiz tomorrow as well. So you can know what the grades are because they're online. But if you had any questions, you can look at when you get all your papers back after the question. But math and then over abs. Let's keep going. Number 80. Y-axis, it folds, and y-axis means even. If you're looking at the graph, but then if you actually solve it out, what happens? It stays the same. So it's even. I think you have one more even past number 80.
86.
Yeah, that's not in the quiz tomorrow. If you want to peek at it, go for it. It's actually a calculus-y sort of thing. The final answer is 2 over y. So you will not need that for any quest, any quiz, any test this year in regular pre-cal. So it's kind of spiffy because it is a pre-cal-ish part to a much bigger calculus problem. So you guys got to peek. But forget that. Okay, stop at number 8. Sound good? Are there any other remaining quick questions on odds? I know that we went over the 72, 70, that was in the section 73, 75. We could look at those if you guys want. But since we do have a quest tomorrow, are there any odds in particular? Raise your hand if you're like, please. We can peek out real fast. How you guys are grading when you go over the odds or grading in pen? Good idea, because that means you're seeing what you got wrong on the odds. Those of you that aren't, you might want to start that. But sorry, I had a question then. Yeah, Todd.
I'm going number 9.
Number 9. Okay, any other ones? Go ahead. Very fast. Okay. Number 9, we get out of this. Oh, sad. Hold on, we're getting there. Has the online book been working okay for you guys when you're not on school internet?
I'm using Slater.
Okay, real quick. Do you guys know you can download it as a PDF?
Maybe there is something like freeze.
Yes. Okay, hold on.
I made it free.
If you go to save to your desktop, okay, it gives you, now you guys saw the little arrow, it always means download, right? If you try to do this, don't try to do that. That's an awful idea. But if you scroll down and download the PDF version. That's the one. Theoretically, that should work a little bit nicer. If you try to do this one, it's a really big version because it has all the cool ebook stuff, but if you do one of these ones, hopefully it'll work better. I'll see if I can get a PDF version. I can put it maybe on the shared folder. Let's see, section 1.5, is this it? Oh my, no, that's not it. That was too much fun. Now, that's 1.3. There we go. Okay, number 9. Says, just to find, hey guys, this is 1.5, right? That right?
Yeah.
What does F parenthesis number always mean? Find me a Y value when X is 2. So go find X is 2. Y value looks a lot like 0. Approximate. Letter B, F of 1. Go find 1. Right? Don't go to the whole. That's not really existing. Go to the filled in point, and it looks like a lot like 1. Go to 3. Looks a lot like, ooh, you have to approximate. I'm going to say 2 because that slope looks like up 1 over 1. And then negative 1. Mm-hmm. Looks good to me. Cool. Remember that notation. All right. We have a quiz tomorrow. If I were you, if you want to write down, that's not on the quiz tomorrow. Okay. These are the main topics. Why is it called a question, not a quiz? The quiz is like 5 points, 10 points, maybe 20 points. This is 50. But how much is a test?
100.
How many points?
A test. Yeah. Oh, it's 100. Almost every time. Yeah. If you want to write in your comp book, I wouldn't make a table of contents for it. I just kind of fit it in if I were you. But don't maybe.
50 points or 15?
50. So it's half a chapter, half a test. That's what I'm looking at. There is a lot in your homework that is not necessarily on the test, like that weird rectangle-y thing. Yeah, no. The rectangle in a semicircle-y thing? No. It was just an introduction. But these are things you definitely want to have down. What don't I have up here? Distance formula? It's really just Pythagorean. You might want to add distance as well. I had to add domain and interval notation. Saying these are the main topics. I'm not saying there can't be anything else, but I'm saying these are the main topics. Once you have them written down, 1 ambassador from each group is to come up right next to the computer that I always use for my smartboard. Grab 1 expo marker, grab 1 paper and a sheet protector, and grab 1 eraser rag. 1 ambassador. Come on up. Grab 1 in each of the 3.
Go.
Follow David's example. If I were you, I'd turn to the side. That does not have my name on it from scratch paper. You will my reference.
Does she have
The name of the game is review. Just in general. You are allowed to have 1 composition book out per group. 1 composition book out per group. I don't care who it is. You guys choose. Everything else cleared off. Now for the rules. You guys ready?
I'm so ready.
Now hold on. Some of you are like, wait, we're not writing it down, so we can't study for tomorrow. But what am I doing? Writing it down, saving it in your notes, and in the video online, you can study for tomorrow. Okay, got it. Rules. Only one person can be controlling a marker at a time. And that person is unique per turn. What does that mean? The person with the marker stays with the marker until the turn or the problem is over. As soon as a turn is over, then we rotate. No person can go repeatedly. Not longer. We rotate. So wait, what about all the people that are not using the marker? You may not write, but you may speak. You may not write, but you may speak. Which means you probably should be facing the person with the marker wherever they are. If you need to turn desks, you very well may. But if you're not looking at what they're doing, how can you help? Okay. Sometimes we're going to be going for speed. Today we're not going for speed, we're going for correctness. It's not about getting it first, it's about getting it right. Sometimes we go for points, and there are rewards based on those points. Today, though, we're just kind of getting ready. So if you get a point, that's good, but I'm not going to necessarily keep track. See anything else? You have to write the problem before you can start solving. And you have to box your answer before you display. Now, depending on what's going on, if we're doing something that maybe requires a lot of work, we might go to a bigger whiteboard. But how can I check your answers? When you're done and it's boxed, you flip it up towards me. Now imagine flipping this up. Many people have gotten hurt. So we're starting off easy today. If you hit someone with that, they're not going to get like a cut in their face. So anyways, for right now, we're just using those. Turn to the side where my name is not. Turn to the blank side. And life is a lot better. You don't have to write anything else besides the problem and then go ahead and solve. And then once we're done with the term, and once I've gone through the solution, then go ahead, fully erase and pass to the next person. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Let's start with, I'm keeping track by numbers just so you guys can keep track in the sense of when you come back to look at it later if you want to review. But otherwise, you guys just write the problem. Find the midpoint. Yes, you can write. Nice to write the problem. Go. Turn. If you're not busy, you're have a disturbance.
Tyler, small better help you with small minutes.
Let me see David.
It is 4.
Don't forget your front card.
4 over 8.
I have 2 right answers. I'm looking for 8 altogether.
You have 4 right answers already?
No, just 2. Now I have 3. Now I have 4. Now I have to double check your why.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even started yet, right?
I already saw it.
I have 6.
No, you divide by 2. Oh, got it. It's
This is the average one. Average the X's, average the Y.
Thank you. Yeah. It's 2. No, it's comma 2. Sorry. 4 comma 2. 4 comma 2.
Yes. I was right.
That's what I just did.
No, you didn't.
I'll give a whole why did I type this one?
Almost. We almost got all 8 on the next one. Does it make sense? Average the X's, average the Y's. Do your math carefully. How many groups are bold enough to be like, we made a mistake and then we figured it out? There was at least 2. Careful on the math, careful on the math. Erase it. Switch. Switch. Switch, switch. Someone new. Someone new. Alright. A hard one? Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
0, 10,
Go.
Okay, guys.
Turn it face up now. Someone do that smart. Yes, but a negative over a negative is. I mean, you were right.
Oh, that's fine.
I have 1. I have 2. I have 3. Check your math on top. Help her out, help her out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nathan, no cheating.
Check on top.
Did it.
Help her out.
Oh, it's Y2. I got it right.
Missing just a couple.
Okay.
Wow. Looks like a doll. Yeah. Looks like a doll.
That makes sense. You got it?
I got it.
Hey, we got 7.5-ish out of 8. Remember my voice? Real quick, does it matter which direction you go as long as you go the same way for y's and x's? No, doesn't matter. Most of you probably went the other way. I just wanted to show going this way it still works. You just got to keep it straight. Keep it straight. All right, pass. New person. Pass it on, new person. Find the domain. Oh, maybe now some of you will crack open that composition. 4. F of x equals 2 square root of 5 minus 3x. Go.
the domain is just
Want to crack open that composition?
write them as intervals. So like there's x in the bottom and the 2 numbers on the sides. Things goes on. With inequalities in between. Yeah, on the graph. You just set y in a binary. So you see, it goes.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly where that is. But you gotta see where it starts to. I know. The farthest on the x. Oh yeah, it's point. Just do 1 x. So.
There's no calculator.
And
There's another way to do it.
We can't use the calculator.
Domain problems. You gotta find your calculator.
there's a way to do it without using.
Hold on, let me see, David. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have one.
When you have
I have two.
when you have it under root, you set the root
So less
greater
than.
than or equal to 0. So you do 5 minus 3x.
No, that's the numbers that work. Try putting in like 0 or 1, those ones work.
Put the 5 minus 3x. Is greater than or equal to 0. So don't have an x. On that side it's 5 minus 3x. And then 0. And then you just solve it. Pretty easy.
I haven't finished it, but I showed what should have been your first step. Square root, we take what's underneath, set it greater than or equal to 0.
Or 3 different scenarios. One is if it's under a root, you take out the root. One is if it's in the denominator, and I don't know what you're doing.
Oh no, I did the wrong way.
Yeah.
Question! Pass on to a new person. Pass on to a new person. How would you write this in interval notation? Go.
Is that the next problem?
Yeah. New person, how would you write it in interval notation?
So what do we do? We just write it.
You don't have to write anything down, just write the answer. How would you write it in interval notation?
Interval notation.
Isn't it like
X. Oh, that's the brackets and stuff. So, okay. So, you know it has to be greater than or equal to 5/3. So it starts at 5/3.
What's on the left? What's on the right?
oh, it's right here.
Got one. Got two. Got three.
No.
But I think
What's on the left? What's on the right? That would be greater than or equal to. Got it. That would be greater than or equal to.
Oh, wait.
What would change if it was less than or equal to? Number line. How would you graph it? Number line. What would be on the left? What would be on the right?
Let's play a game where we got. Let's play a picture. Let's play a picture. Tyler will change the
Where's the comma 5?
Yeah.
So 5/3.
Yeah. Look at the number line graph. What's on the far left? Negative infinity. What's on the far right? You see it? It was tricky. It was tricky. It wasn't greater than or equal to. It was less than or equal to. It was tricky. Alright, switch. Should be back to the beginning unless you have a group of 3. Then you're still switch. Where are we on? Number 5? Technically, we'll just say 4. Find the zeros. F of x equals 2x square root of x squared minus 4x plus 3. Go. What if you were not allowed to use your calculator tomorrow?
What?
Oh, come on, you don't need it. For those of you that were cheating, go.
Oh wait, no.
That's the
It would be
Wait. Oh.
yeah, so x plus b.
Whatever, it's still bad.
Square both sides.
Write it out.
Unless, are they
Wait, multiply with 11. Wait, so you have a 0 on this side.
Yeah, multiply for the last one. No, it's add to the last one. No,
You gotta factor it out. But this one, that way helps. But you had
no, Tyler, you have to solve it. How do you get 2x squared? 2x squared.
In case it helps, think of it this way. In case it helps, think of it that way.
I just
Okay, so you said this equal to this is obviously
Minus 2.
I have 2.
And then,
Wait, so just you get it right. So it's x equals 1, x equals 3, x equals minus 2. You're good. No, you also probably right. Positive minus 2 for the 2x.
Right?
I know. That's it, that was 2. That's it, right.
Okay.
No, we're not.
Think of what the answer to be from this.
So, as long as it minus 1, that's the boss thing.
is this right? I'm like, I don't know.
Right. I don't like your last one. I like the other ones though.
Yeah, that's square root is weird.
Oh,
So 4x.
Because think makes sense if you square both sides.
She said right to us.
Wait.
4x. Yeah, she said, oh wait, I don't know, check again.
Wait, this is the
Oh, you're trying to solve.
Oh,
Is this right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we just go like just do that.
Two to the square root of 1, right?
Oh, and then you
Yeah.
Is this right?
It's really easy.
Oh, square root of 0.
Does that make sense?
Wait, yes, it does, I lied. Oh yeah, you get square root of 0, thanks for...
Alright, pass it on.
Guys, do you want me to tackle this?
Pass it on.
I'll take a lead.
I'll help you.
I'll do yours, I'll do yours.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
No, sorry.
How hard is it?
It's not hard. 5x minus 2. Yeah, 5 minus 2 is x
No, don't say
Why did I get that one?
So is it
It would be
negative
minus
5x?
5x.
Depends on the day.
Minus 5x plus 3. Minus 5x plus 3.
It's possible. Yeah.
So that's easy.
Notice how we're on Lay's program is sorry, Lay.
Really wasn't.
This isn't
There's no equal, so you should have been done a little earlier.
Oh, I got it to simplify.
Yeah.
Ah, the sign's wrong.
Okay, Tyler, it's my turn to play picture. Let me play picture.
Dang it! No,
I got it.
Nope, sign's wrong.
Okay, so it's very
Hold on, I'm trying to check.
I'm feeling sorry. I like that.
Now, I want you guys to go into race. You don't actually have to solve it, but my next question would have been find the average rates.
Oh.
Just let me know. Maybe peek at that one too. Alright, on your way out, the bell's about to ring in 5 seconds. I just need my papers back, my markers back, my rags back. Ready, set, go. Bye, guys. Study tonight, look at more practice. There is a review at the end of the chapter if you want to play with it, but it's not due.
Oh yeah, math is a sensitive topic. So
Tyler, you're
what am I supposed to do with these again, Caleb? I wasn't paying.
Just follow. Don't worry, you got it, bud.
Put those back.
Oh.